Hey, Jordan, Bill here, just doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Kelly.
Good morning.
I am doing better than everybody else.
That's good.
Yeah, I got a kick out of here.
Testing.
I could hear you, Vernon.
Good deal. I was just testing it on a mobile.
Hey, Jordan, are we going to be able to see the boardroom?
Yeah, we're going to be able to see the boardroom. I just queued it up. Jordan's working on another project right now for the courts.
Hey, great. Yeah, I see it now. Okay, I can see Tom. Kelly, are you there? I didn't see her. I see Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Good morning.
I guess I should lean forward and like, where's the camera these days?
Right up there, right above your head, actually.
Okay, I saw somebody waving. Who was that?
That was Kelly. Now I'm waving.
Hey, I see a loud. Looks good for a counselor.
Well, did you do this just now or was this in? I'm asking Kelly. Are you the one that brought in the candy? Vernon?
Vernon got it out of Tina's drawer.
Oh, you know where it's hidden.
He knows where the stash is.
I better just sit this down and keep it out. We don't want it to disappear, do we?
No, yeah, once you guard that, like a dragon horde.
The dragon horde?
Dragon horde.
Well, it is gold, so
Yeah,
fish.
it is. A little
Looks
bit.
like we might have a quorum. I hear Kelly. I saw Clint. I hear Vernon. I see Tom.
We're the important voting members
I was just
too.
gonna say, I didn't know we got to vote. I'm kind of excited about that.
I think that's in the rules somewhere. We only got one commissioner present, you and I get to vote.
Yeah.
Let's wreak havoc.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Mhm.
All right, well, I think we can begin if you'd like. This is Bill Kanda, County Commissioner. It's Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. I want to remind you to, I just did it, silence your phones. Give you a second. This meeting's being Zoomed and it's on the YouTube as well. And there's a call-in number also. I see that we have no other visitors. We'll do roll call here in a second and we'll introduce people online if they have comments. So roll call, please. That's before that, stand for the pledge. And I think the counselor looks so good. Why don't you lead us, Clint?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Roll call, Kelly.
Commissioner Kanda. Can you hear me?
Here, and I'm on Zoom. Sorry, I didn't hit the trigger.
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Commissioner Day,
Present via Zoom.
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present in person.
and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Okay, any other, well, I see another guest coming in. Is that something to eat, I hope?
No.
Okay, thanks. We're all here, got a quorum, and like I said, we'll have introductions on the audience if there are any others that have comments later. Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Gentlemen, I do not.
No, I don't either. We'll have a presentation, but we can do that during commissioner items. I don't think it needs to be an agenda item.
No, it doesn't need to be. That's perfect.
None here.
All right, no amendments. And I know we don't have any minutes unless somebody snuck one in on me. Are there any minutes?
No, there's not.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, commissioner items. Kevin, you got anything that I know there's been a couple things going on and anything that we need to understand?
Coming over, Kelly, do you know?
Just I think everybody knows Gail and I did go up. We did get a test from the courthouse on Friday and a rapid test. We did come back positive. I went back. I was able to get in on Monday at the clinic, and we have not got those test results back yet at this time. We're still doing mild symptoms, but overall we're doing well. So thank you for everybody on your concern and for the prayers everybody's been giving us. We appreciate that.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Welcome to Zoom again. Tom.
Why don't you go ahead, Mr. Chairman, and then I'll finish up with the presentation.
Okay, that'd be good. That's perfect. All right, yeah, I don't have anything other than that we did, as I mentioned in the last meeting, have a airport board has gotten the process going on the refund for the tank from Basco. And that's going to happen. Then we'll decide they're getting other bids out and we'll know what that's going to happen here later. We'll get a report from them next week. Other than that, I would also like to say I'm sure glad things are working out. We're all healthy right now. I too had a positive test on the 17th. Didn't find out about the positivity until the I think it was the 3rd, 4th. I'm sorry, the 23rd is when the test was. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the meeting. 24th. Anyway, everything's doing well. Joanne's fine here. I am not contagious according to the docs. But I am living out the isolation for the next till the 3rd of April. And Kevin, welcome welcome to that world. We'll see you on whatever day they're going to let you go to. All right, Tom, why don't you do the presentation and
Well, we're not quite ready, but I'll go ahead and give my report.
all right, go ahead.
So this, back on the 17th, we had a BOCC meeting down in Wetmore. I attended via Zoom. Also on the 17th was our last Board of Health meeting, and I attended that via Zoom as well. Tested positive at 5 o'clock on the 17th. Had a test done over here at the clinic, PCR test, and I had isolated on the morning of the 16th is why I didn't attend those meetings, because I was suspicious that maybe I did have COVID. Turned out I tested positive. So, and then came back to work yesterday, had isolated until then, and spent some time here in the office, and then had to go down below on some commissioner business. So that's my calendar. A couple of things, I want to bring this up before I forget. Jeff Uthier is requested to be on the April 14th agenda to give us the Forest Service update. So I'm looking at Kelly to see if we can get that on.
Oh, April 14th.
I thought we had added that already, Kelly.
I have no idea. I haven't seen it, so.
Jeff had, they had asked for a meeting, so that's a good time. You got to figure out when to get it now, I guess.
And then
And what's that for, Tom?
Forest Service update is what he asked
Okay.
for. Okay. And had something else, but we got some stuff going on in here, so we'll just postpone that and deal with it later. Hello, how are you? So give us just a few minutes, kind of get organized here. Who else coming in? You know, Kelly?
Jackie and then Donna.
Okay. Did you call Donna? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're waiting on a couple people.
This team at home.
So bear with us if you would, please. How's everybody?
A little tired, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it drags you down, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I
Know the
stepped
feeling?
out of the vehicle yesterday and twisted my back.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Tom, once everybody gets in there, would you introduce everybody that's there?
Sure, yeah.
Main star just needs to get here.
Trying to get all the timing just right. It's a little difficult.
Here come the troops.
There's a troop, TROUPE, right? So we're just waiting for one more, I believe.
Christmas.
Donna.
Wow, what a gentleman.
Yeah.
They look pretty comfortable.
I'm standing here right behind.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest by far. I'm entitled to sit.
Yes, you are. You definitely-
So I was like, oh.
You gotta file a tax
I guess while we're waiting, I could add a couple of things that transpired, if that's all right.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, I know before we were I was attempting to set up a meeting with Channel 13 and Channel 11 in regards to the repeaters for the TV stations up there. We postponed that because of weather, and we're trying to set something up this next month now. So when I get that solidified, we'll go up and visit the tower so they can look things over there. Also yesterday, I did attend a Zoom meeting in regards to the attainable housing, and they are attempting to get some additional technical help as far as they're moving forward with their lots and working with Silver Cliff on that. So just a little bit of information there for you.
Okay, well, the guest of the hour has arrived. So we have a presentation to give Miss Donna. Before we do, though, because we're Zooming, I would let everybody know who's in the room this morning. Virginia Trujillo, of course, Counselor Clint Smith, Laura Lockhart, J.D. Henrich, Guinevere Nelson, Jackie Hobby, Vernon, Kelly, myself, and Miss Donna Hobby. So with that, Miss Donna, you come forward. We have a plaque we'd like to present you today. Turn around and face that.
Yeah, that's so they can.
So I'll read this. It says, congratulations on your retirement presented to Donna Hobby, March 31st, 2021. In sincere appreciation for your 35 years of dedicated service to Custer County. So we really appreciate that. I can't imagine. I don't know what it would be like to work in a county operation for 35 years. You have my respect for that. On behalf of the commissioner, certainly we want to say thank you and congratulate you and wish you the best as you move forward in your retirement. There are people in this room that's got 30 times more experience with you than I do from working here all these years. So we wanted to invite them in. And we've also got a gift for you. I'll take that if you don't mind. And let me just say, not the easiest person in the world to shop for, okay? Yeah, I know. So just kind of rip and snort.
Am I gonna be scared?
Yeah, rip and snort. That's what my grandson said when he opened Christmas presents. So. And I think, if I understand it right, you've worked in every elected official department in the courthouse, correct? Over the years? No, you didn't work for JD? Oh, I thought you did.
No, I'm a geographical idiot. He would have been sad to have me over. I would not have been.
Wouldn't have lasted long.
Yeah.
No, just the clear.
Oh.
Pizza Peel. I had to look up the spelling. I wasn't quite sure. It's P-E-E-L. I thought it was I-E-L. But Mike Smith, a retired veterinarian, master wood craftsman, and so we hope that you would, and yeah, you'll have to bring them over here. Hope that you would enjoy something made locally by somebody you know. Crooked Spruce Ranch, yeah. Whether you hang them on your wall or actually use them.
Yeah, I probably won't use them. I'll just look at them. Those are
But we hope when you do look at those, you'll look back and think fondly of your time here at the county. You've been a valued employee, I know that, so. Well, if you would stand here, make a few remarks or give
No,
thanks to whoever you want.
I used to be taller, 35 years, it's maybe shorter, but no, it's been a pleasure. And off I go to do chores. Oh, I know. Things that have been waiting forever.
Commissioners, would you like to say something?
Go ahead, Kevin. I'll do it last.
Donna, I'd like to say thank you very much. You know, I've worked in a different capacity with you for 25 years, and I just want to thank you for all of your hard work. I know it's been a lot, and I just wish you all the best moving forward, and you will sorely be missed.
Thanks.
Yeah, Donna, let me echo that. 35 years, huh? Is that all?
Yeah, I know. It seems longer sometimes.
Like it just got started, doesn't it? Well, let me tell you, I've been around a lot of different agencies, a lot of different organizations, and you are an amazing employee, the most loyal employee I've seen in my days, dedicated to the job and dedicated to the mission. You've made a significant difference, and you will be missed by every one of us for a long time to come. And thank you very much for standing in there and helping things get moving. And I really am sorry to see you go on the very last day here. You still got something to do. We need to get those paychecks out, and everybody's in the room waiting for that to happen, I'll bet. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? You guys like to say something? We've got some folks out in the hallway too, some well wishers, but we don't want to cut it short. So if you'd like to say something, you're more than welcome.
Yeah,
the roasting would probably be more likely.
Given the different circumstances, we had a whole different set of plans for today, trust me on that, but we just didn't think it'd be appropriate to try to get everybody in one room. So
No.
as you go through the day, I hope you just have fun memories. So thank you very much. We appreciate that.
All right.
I'll take some pictures of Kelly and JD and Lauren and Virginia. And we're gonna have a picture for the newspaper.
You in there?
No.
Yeah, there you go. I should have brought him. Everyone would have smiled better if I brought him.
Do we have to put on our masks for the picture?
No, I don't think so. You wanna do it out in the hall? You wanna do it in here? You wanna stand up here?
I'll take the picture.
I hate that when my picture taken. I see what you're doing.
No, I'll be taking a picture. Just stand up there real quick.
I know I'm coming off.
We'll miss you. I was gonna.
I'll put my butt
Yeah,
there.
she moved.
All right.
Can you see over me? Can you see over me? Yeah.
2, 3. Just a little.
How's my hair like?
One.
Oh, shut up.
Behind her.
How's my hair look?
None of my bunny ears behind her.
It's called bed hair. I wanted to say, how does my face look? Because, you know, that's gonna be bright in there. So, hey, that'll be great, okay. How's my pimple look? Well, I have more than a pimple, I have a whole, yeah, a whole thing going on.
You know.
Thing going there. Yes,
Agreed.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Oh, you're welcome.
Look forward to seeing you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my commissioner items. Thank you.
All right, it sounds like that was the highlight. I thought the next item would be the highlight, but let's hear from the attorney.
He's on Facebook. You're up, Clint.
Right.
Clint, you up? You got anything to say?
I always have something to say. Let's see, since our last BOCC meeting on March 17, I attended the Board of Health meeting that same day. Since then, what I've primarily been doing is working with Vic Barnes and Jackie Hobby concerning 2 special use permit matters that are going to come up on April 5. One concerning a request for having a trailer repair place on Highway 69 just south of town. And the other modification of West Cliff meat special use permits. And there's been a lot of work and a lot of discussion on those, and also working a little bit in tweaking and fine tuning the proposed STR regulations for final approval by this board. So that's what I've been involved in since our last meeting.
Okay, thanks, Clint. And I know our admin is not there right now, but is there anything from you, Kelly?
Me? No, I don't have anything.
The only thing I had, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I didn't bring it up during my commissioner items, but I see Mr. Mullen is on the call today. Were we going to add action for the broadband tower project today or not?
I was added to the agenda on the 7th, I think is what happened, or the 5th. Kelly, which one's it?
Yeah, it's on Wednesday. I think that's, is that the 7th?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
Ben. All right, we got any other public comment before we get started on something that we might consider in the future and from anybody? All right, hearing none, let's move on then to unfinished business. I don't think we have any unfinished business. Anybody, Tom, Kevin?
Not that I'm aware of.
Nothing here.
All right. All right, new business. We'll move on. Each one of these items we will be voting on. Possibly there may be some considerations for some votes, and that time we will allow public comment on each item as we go through it. So the first one, which I just mentioned, which is probably very important today, it'd be the last official action that Donna is doing for us, and that would be going through the paychecks and getting them printed once we approve that. I went through the vouchers yesterday, and I only had one other question. She answered that. We did have a check that's already been cut for the RJ Polster firm that is working with the courthouse item, and that was an issue that I know both Tom and I had been called on yesterday. So it's out and about, and I don't have any other comments on the checks. Anything from you, Kevin?
No, I noticed that we did get the issue fixed as far as for the phones for Dr. Brown. It's not for mileage now. It was for the phones, and they've got that fixed. I saw that.
Great. I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks. Tom, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm assuming the county does not provide Dr. Brown with phone then. Is that the assumption?
We've always provided a public health director with a phone. Dr. Brown elected to use his own phone.
Okay.
And the old phone is being used for the vaccination clinics work and that type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I also had a question on Frederick Poles, their $15,000 invoice. It was really invoiced for the first installment of $7,500. And Bill, you said that check's already been written?
The $7,500 one has.
Really? Okay. Do you know when?
It's planned to be. It's on the roll today is what it is, Tom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I misunderstood. I thought you said that check had already been written, and I asked Dawn about it and got a response and thought that it was in this round of vouchers. So
yeah, that's what I had meant. The question was whether it was in the round of vouchers, and I verified.
Okay.
All I did was verify that it was, so it'll be out today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I reviewed the rest of the vouchers and didn't find anything of any great concern to me. So I would move that we approve the vouchers for March 2021.
I would second that.
Okay, I think I heard a delayed second. It's been moved and seconded to accept the vouchers as we've discussed and presented. So all in favor, say aye. Kevin?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. All right, that's completed. Next up is consideration of an interim HR payroll director and finance director compensation. We did discuss this in our special meeting we had in order to keep the ball rolling, just to bring everybody up to speed. Vernon Roth has volunteered and stepped in during this last month when we did not have the HR, finance, or payroll positions filled yet. And so this is a temporary position. And I'll just make this statement. I think it's temporary only through the 3 to 6 months. We're going through a transition now. And the HR or the payroll function and the finance are all going to be rolled into the new system. And that might make a difference on what the final position looks like that we'll consider. So with that, I see that position, and we'll do after that, there's a second consideration for another interim position at the end of the agenda. So I'll open it up for some discussion. Tom, if you want to bring up your thoughts on that, and Kevin, and then we'll go forward.
Well, yeah, I'm still of the opinion that these two positions need to be separate. So I hope that's how we would move forward. Obviously, we have an applicant for either of those positions. So I would like to be able to, depending on our decision here on the interim of one of these two, then maybe consider the applicant for the other position, and then continue to advertise for that interim position. In my opinion, there's most likely two reasons that we haven't had any or very little interest in these positions. And one, either we just didn't do a good enough job of getting the word out statewide, or two, it's just not enough money. So I think those are considerations that we need to look at as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin. We're just right now just considering the interim position of the HR payroll director and finance compensation until we do what we will do later on, to select both positions. We'll be discussing those at other meetings. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yes, I would mirror some of your comments earlier. I appreciate Vernon jumping over there and working with Donna lately. And I know that the swap overs has already started taking place now. And in visiting with him, that is going to be pretty detailed, I believe. He indicated to me that it's going to take quite a bit of his time as we go through this this crossover. So we might keep that in mind as well as we move forward as far as filling one or the other slots, or because I believe a lot of his time will be taken up with this transfer. That being said, he's also still continuing in the overseeing the IT department as well.
Yeah.
So I think that I would be for being able to compensate him more than because of the added work. He's coming in early and staying late a lot of times now to keep both positions moving forward. So I'll turn the floor back over at this time if anyone would like to comment on that.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Here, I have a suggestion. We know that there's two temporary positions that we brought up just now. One is IT full-time, and then the other one is to keep pressing down the road as we go through the transition with an interim finance payroll position. I agree. It takes more, and so let's break them into the two pieces. It's the way it is on the agenda. So the first one up would be the finance director compensation for Vernon as an acting finance director, and through the transition, probably through what I understand, it's 3 months for sure. It started now, should be finished up by the 1st of July. We don't know for sure. And in the meantime, I know we will be actively pursuing getting another position, as Tom mentioned, to work the HR payroll piece that we still have as an option. So I would propose this for us to consider, and that would be to move Vernon into this temporary position. And I think compensation wise, he's $23, $24 right now. I believe it's probably worth $30 an hour, and then as an interim position, which is as a starting point for us to consider for the next few months. I know Donna's compensation is something more than that. Doesn't matter. It is. So I know we have plenty of money to cover this in the meantime. But anyway, that would be a proposal to start with Vernon first, and let's consider his position to be temporary, working the finance payroll job that he's currently working with Donna now. So I'll throw that open for discussion.
Well, I guess what I was getting at earlier, you're suggesting that this interim position be both HR, payroll, and finance. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't going to include the HR piece, Tom. I was just looking at it as the payroll finance piece primarily.
I thought we had split that out between HR and payroll being one and finance director being the other.
That's true, but we do not have right now, Vernon is the only one that's been temporary. Remember, this is only temporarily because we need the two positions. My view is for now, Vernon, as we transition, the payroll piece would be part of the finance job that he's currently doing temporarily, as Donna is full-time right now. HR, we can discuss afterwards, but that could be picked up temporarily until we get an interview for the HR payroll position, like you suggested, by perhaps our admin or somebody else internally. Anyway, that's how I'd like to approach it, just a suggestion.
Yeah, I was hoping that we could schedule an interview this week. We've had that application on our desk for over 2 weeks, that we could schedule an interview. And I guess it's up to us to decide which job we would want to interview that applicant for.
I agree.
When I looked at the application, it was indicated that it looked like he was really applying for either one. So in my opinion, I'd like to see us schedule an interview and interview that application for HR payroll, and then consider this finance director position of its own merits, understanding that in the next few days, there's probably going to be training in both of those areas. I understand that. I'm not discounting that, but I'd like to see us handle these separately so we could move on and try to hire an HR payroll director.
I agree, and that's what I'm trying to do, Tom. This is confined only to Vern's temporary position now, acting as the finance director now, period. It also includes, until we interview and hire somebody to be the payroll guy, is working with that until we do exactly what you're saying. We need to schedule an interview. We haven't done that yet. And we haven't even looked at the candidates yet. So I'd like to keep this as the agenda has it here. Let's work what this temporary position ought to be compensated at for now.
If I may.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to see if Kelly might by chance have handy what it was we did vote to have Vernon do as far as in the interim. If she had that, she could read that to us.
Good idea. Go ahead. Yeah, I think she's got
I
it.
think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, so at that special meeting on the 24th, the motion was to have Vernon work with Donna for the rest of the month as the interim finance director and discuss remuneration at the March 31st BOCC meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks. So that's that. Go ahead, Kevin.
One more thing. And Vernon, are you there?
Yes, sir.
I know I have had some discussion with you is because you've seen some of this job and with the swap over and everything as well. This may enter into this as far as your compensation as well. And as we move forward, I know it's a little bit of a rabbit trail, but would you be able to voice your opinion on what this will look like moving forward?
I will definitely try. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been working in the office doing primarily the payroll, accounts payable section with certain amounts of HR and finance involved. Training up on the entire system. And at the same time, I've also been working with the new company CIC that we're going to be doing our finance payroll systems through. And then in addition to that, I've been putting in a lot of extra hours on it. I've been doing my IT work, and I've been communicating with other counties that have already gone through this conversion system. And by and large, they say that it is a long, difficult trudge uphill through the mud to get through the conversion. And then on the other side, it's a beautiful place, but it's a difficult process getting through the conversion. And so what I'm seeing as I get involved more and more deeply into the day-to-day operations, I'm seeing at least one person working in the systems as they exist right now, and one person going through the process of converting all the systems and making certain that the data works correctly across the board. And what that looks like, it's going to be, we are done with Avenue Insights and Analytics in June. Over the next 2 months, we will be coming online with CIC, and in the last month we'll be entering all the data concurrently. So it will literally be a double job to make certain that all the data is entered properly and everything is coming out correctly for government compliance and data record keeping and that type of thing, and make certain everybody gets paid correctly. And then on the other side of that, it's going to be it looks like it will be as we're talking about, a finance person and an HR, accounts payable, payroll person. So that's kind of what it's looking like through the process. Getting there is going to be an adventure. I think we definitely need at least one more body in the office.
Thank you. I think that's helpful in all this, not only this line item, but as far as the interview that we're going to consider as well. Any comments on that?
I like that. Thank you for bringing that up. Good summary, Vernon. So right now, without having interviewed anybody right now today, it's a tough job, is what you're saying. It's a two-man job to convert it. And in the end, you see a HR payroll position still existing, which is good news. And we definitely need to fill that position. So in the interim, you will be working through, and this is something you have to consider as well. You just stated it's through July 1st, basically, April, May, kind of conversion, June, getting everything ironed out. So at that point, we're going to be ready for a full-time finance position to carry on with the new system. Is that right, Vernon?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. So I think that's a good summary, and thanks for bringing it up, Kevin. We need to, and Tom both, we need to get the interview scheduled when we can. We'll set that as part of the action out of this today. Possibly we can do it before the next two meetings, or during, maybe make the selection during our next meeting on the 5th or 6th. So given that, I would still propose that we still have to consolidate Vernon's position, move the IT job full-time to Jordan, which would be our consideration on the last item. But in the meantime, I still think whether he continues as temporary after the conversion or not, that position is going to require, it's probably a $30 an hour position right now. It may not be that in the end. We'll have to see what our position is that we compensate, that we are advertising. But in the interim, I think it's probably worth considering doing that for Vern full-time right now as an interim. And I would propose $30 an hour, and I'd move to do that now.
I would second that, just so we could have a little discussion here.
Perfect. All right, discussion. Open it up. Go ahead, Kevin.
And I'm a little confused. Is Vernon salary or hourly at this point? You've been using hourly rate. I was under the assumption that he was salary.
I'm sorry, when I did the research on this, everything is used as hourly rates. Donna, for example, is at 35 roughly. Vernon's 23 now in his current job. This other job's going to involve a little more than just being the IT director. It's going to be involved with the transition. So I think it's worth the $7 more an hour. And then we would worry about the full-time position when it becomes time to move into that position where he would have to compete if there is somebody else to compete for that position at that time.
So I guess I have a question I'd like to ask Vernon. It's a little awkward to be doing this in public meeting, but I guess that's what we decided. So do you anticipate moving into this finance arena full-time?
I don't anticipate moving into it after the conversion.
Okay.
I enjoy what I do in the
Okay.
IT position. I enjoy that aspect of my work.
So you're not really looking for a career move, you're looking to
No,
help
sir.
out.
I am
Okay.
looking to get the county through our conversion and keep us afloat while we're moving forward.
I'm glad I asked the question because I really didn't have a good feel for where you were coming from. Thank you.
I'm glad you did too, because Vernon's been he's volunteering and manning up so much here. It looks like he was ready to change careers too, but that's why I brought it up. It's not necessarily meaning that he would be the guy for the job yet. It still would have to be competed.
Yeah, we had talked about it being interim all along. I just did not have a feel for if he was interested to be on the interim thing. I think I've got a feel for that now. Thank you. And so then secondly is, I guess, the consideration of moving our IT assistant to more of a full-time IT on an interim basis. I'm assuming he's of the same mindset. If things revert back to kind of where we're at now, he is okay with that as well. Would you?
That's what we've talked about.
Okay. Thank you.
Good questions. Any other comments?
Council, you think we're okay having all this public discussion? And
I think so. I mean, we're just trying to figure out a temporary fix for something here, and we're not going into a lot of personal information about anybody. So I think it's all okay to do it this way.
Very good. Thank you. I'm good.
Thank you, Clint. Any other comments, Kevin?
No, thank you for checking on that, Tom. It's hard to know exactly when you should be doing one thing or the other here, so appreciate that.
Yep. You're welcome.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'd call for the vote. It was moved and seconded to provide Vernon with a temporary position to work this transition for now at an hourly rate of $30 an hour. And that would be for a no more and not to exceed date of probably 1 July. I just added that. Any comments?
Yes, sorry. I think before we make this vote also, this would be coming out of the HR finance budget rather than the IT budget. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm glad you
Okay.
brought that out. That's exactly right. That's when I mentioned it before. I said the money will cover that. I was implying that was Donna's current salary.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page there.
I think Kelly has something.
Bill, so, and I can't remember if it was, I think Kevin brought up the fact of this being so that's supposed to be a salary position. Donna's position is a salary position.
That's
So
correct.
instead of the $30 per hour, that works out to 62,400. So
Yeah,
do you want
that's
to,
really how we need to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it needs to be prorated back to the. It is a salary position.
okay.
And I suppose it's a little awkward, but I guess we'd have to ask Vern if he's comfortable with that. Maybe that conversation's already been had and I'm not privy to it, but I will ask him. You feel like that's fair?
I feel like that's fair. Yes. I was gonna say 32.
I don't doubt it.
But no, start over.
He wants 32 and us to buy the candy for his office, which would run it to about $38, right?
There you go.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate
That's
that.
true. Hold out, yes. Need to hold out for more.
All right, thank you, Kelly, for bringing that up. And any other comments?
I'm assuming start date would be April 1.
Tomorrow, April Fool's Day.
I think we should prorate it back to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, too late.
Weeks have been intense.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Kevin?
Would have to be intense.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you, team.
Thanks, Vern.
Next on the agenda is discussing perhaps having Donna help us, and I'll field this one. I did talk to Donna. She is not interested in a contract at all. However, on a case-by-case basis, if there were something that came up that wasn't covered in the notes and then all the tutelage she's been giving to Vernon, she would be more than happy to have a discussion with Vernon as we're progressing here. And then in the future, if there's a CIC or other need for some expertise there, we would consider that, I think, separately with a separate contract if needed with them.
So we don't need to take any action on this item?
No, we don't need any action on this item. Any other comments? Ed, Kevin?
Just one, so if he does contact her and she does need to provide assistance on certain items, what does that look like? I know we are not going to have a contract with her. Is that something we would need to compensate her for if she is contacted?
Case by case, no. She should be more than happy to lend the advice on the things that she's already supplied. If it involves something that turns out to be that would demand time and actually have her expertise, period, then that way we would have to consider separately with her.
Okay, thank you.
Comfortable with that?
Are we good there, Vernon?
believe so, sir.
Okay, let's move on then. This would be the consideration of interviewing applicants for the HR payroll director. I might have a suggestion. Well, it probably doesn't matter which order we take these in. This would be fine. I'll open the floor up. Go ahead, Kevin or Tom.
Well, I would suggest that we schedule to interview the one applicant we have for either April the 1st or April the 2nd. I realize you guys are under quarantine, and I respect that. I do believe this is something we could do virtually, and when it's appropriate, we can put people in the waiting room, and when it's appropriate, we can invite them back into the meeting as it goes along. I hate to wait until like the 6th or 7th. I think we're getting down the road a little too far. I just think every day we're falling further behind the 8 ball here.
Kevin, got any comments?
I think I would have to probably agree with Tom on that. I mean, learning more about Zoom all the time, and it may be a little bit awkward here, but trying to do that. But I guess that's one more thing we need to work through as far as some of us not being physically present to be able to do this. But I think we can do it.
Okay.
Sorry,
Let me make a comment real quick.
Go ahead.
I agree with you. We need to do it sooner than later. No issues there. I come out of off isolation on the 2nd, actually Saturdays when I'm a free man. I would like to do, and I don't know that an extra day is going to make much difference. If we can hold the interview on the 5th, we would have a couple of us in the room together. But that would be my only thought there. The 6th and 7th, we could make put it on the agenda for a decision. So either way, we have to have it on an agenda item for one of those 2 days.
Thoughts on that, Tom?
Well, I've given you my thoughts. I'd like to do it either the 1st or the 2nd, and then put it on the agenda for the 6th for consideration of possibly offering a contract or a job position. But I'm not going to die on that sword either. So
I think we need to do it on the 6th or 7th for sure, make the decision. That's why I said it doesn't, to me, I can participate physically on the 5th if we interview them. And I don't mind doing it on Zoom either, but it's, who else are we going to have in there?
well, I would assume Clint for sure.
If I may, then I'm hearing both of you say that we would be considering most likely on Tuesday, the 5th for a decision.
I don't know my calendar. I may have a different calendar than you do, but the 5th and 6th are Monday, Tuesday. 6th, 7th is Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So Tom, you were wanting to have a decision on Monday, on
Tuesday the 6th during our first BOCC meeting.
Okay.
Which means your interview on the 5th or the 1st or 2nd, Kevin's what he's suggesting.
Okay. But I'm hearing both of you say for that on our first BOCC meeting to make the decision on whether we would like to offer a contract. So to me, I would defer either way as far as that goes, because I'm going to be Zooming in regardless. But I don't think it would make a difference whether we interviewed on Monday or Friday, because of the decision's going to be at the same time. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I wonder if we pick the 5th as the primary date and the 2nd as a backup date in the event the applicant has a conflict.
That'll work for me, and I think that's the right thing to do.
I would be on board with that.
Okay, then let's put it in form of a motion then. Go ahead, Kevin, see how good a luck you've got on this one.
Oh, boy. I would like to make a motion that we interview our applicant for the, I guess this position would be for which one now?
Well, I don't know that. He's indicated that he'd be interested in either of the positions in his application. So I think we need to decide what we want to do. Unless we want to interview him for both and then make a decision. I guess that's up to us.
Well, I think primarily it would be the HR payroll position, and if he interviews differently, we can always change our position, like you said, Tom. It's one applicant we're going to interview for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be for the HR payroll then, correct? Primarily, possibly a blended position. I guess we should know that moving in, that during this transition time that he would probably be learning both roles. And at the end of the transition, the job description may change a little bit. So that being said, I would like to make a motion that we interview our applicant for the HR payroll position on the 5th. If he's unable to do that, then we could have a backup date of the 2nd of April.
Do you want to include a time on that, sir?
10 o'clock if he is available. If that's good with you guys.
That works for me.
Works for me, just coordinate it and it can change. It doesn't really matter whether it's 10 or not. It's when he's available.
Yeah. Well, it will matter because I've got a commitment at 1:30.
Okay, so that
Planning
so
Planning and Zoning has their hearing at 1:30.
Okay, good.
I'm going to be at that too.
Yeah, Clint will be in attendance at that meeting as well. So would you gentlemen like me to set this up?
Well, see, you're there now. Certainly can. Or Kelly can.
I think if we pass this motion, then that would be great if you could do that, Tom.
Yeah, I'd certainly be willing to do it. I'm not comfortable asking Kelly to do it. She's got her stuff.
If you want to
I'm
send
just
it,
making sure she's earning it, Tom. That's all.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Sure, she's earning her stuff.
Well, that's debatable, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, so I was just kind of having a sidebar conversation there. If and when we get that scheduled, that would be a closed workshop, Clint. We would schedule that as a closed workshop to interview for vacancy position.
Right.
Okay. And then there's no need to schedule a special meeting. We can just wait then until the 6th and put it on the agenda for the 6th. Is that satisfactory?
That's correct. That's what we will add to the agenda.
That's good. So that will be an executive session.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
We have not done that unless there's.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
We need to talk about, but normally we do that in public open session and just refer the candidate by number until we have confirmation that he or she has accepted the position.
That's right.
My mistake.
No problem.
I'm used to doing the interviews during a meeting and going into
Right.
a closed session. So my mistake.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming we will have a discussion about salary and all that with the candidate and include that in a motion if one is made. Is that a fair assumption?
That's fair. And that's a position's been advertised like that.
I will make that happen and inform you via email.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to interview a candidate for the position of HR payroll. And that would be on Monday as primary date before noon, understand 10. And secondary backup interview time would be on the 2nd.
I don't think you had a second on that motion. so
I did not hear a second.
I will second the motion.
All right, now it's been stated. Tom seconded. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to offer or to interview a candidate for the position HR payroll. Primary date for the interview would be on the 5th with a intent to make this selection on the 6th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Backup date would be the 2nd. All in favor, say aye. Kevin?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye.
So I'd like to ask Vern a question pertaining to that before we move on.
Go ahead. Get Vern in there.
So closed workshop, we're gonna Zoom that. And then we'll need to because Kevin will have to Zoom in or call in on the phone, I guess.
We can do a closed workshop. Instead of using the public ID, I can set up a specific ID for that meeting and then give you the invite so that nobody else is Zooming in.
I think that works, don't you, Clint? I mean, we're not gonna make a decision. We're just gonna go through the motions.
Correct.
And then our decision, of course, if we make one, will be during a regular BOCC meeting. So
Right.
does that sound reasonable, gentlemen?
Good with me.
Okay, I'll work with Vern and get that put together as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Last item is to consider the interim IT director position and compensation. I will propose that we consider this for discussion, that we move the halftime position of the IT position that Jordan Benson's on currently, make it full-time. And I would propose the full-time figure of $20 an hour. I hate to keep saying the hourly rates, but he's at halftime now, make it full-time. And let's open it up for discussion.
If I may, can I say something here?
Vernon, is that you?
Yes, sir. It's not
Oh,
technically, it's not technically a IT director position. It's still IT assistant.
Just moving to full-time instead of.
Just moving it to full-time, yeah. And he is an hourly employee. He's not a salaried employee.
That makes sense.
And has anybody had a conversation with him about this?
Yes. Brendan has, I have, and I don't know, Kevin, did you have a conversation before?
I know I have spoken to him. I haven't spoken to him as in regards at all to him possibly going there and then coming back. I know he has voiced that he would like to be able to go full-time here in this, at least in this interim period. Don't know, I'm unaware of what his wages are or what this would look like either way.
Yeah, I think it's, and Jordan's on, we can ask him too, but from what I understand, it's half-time, $17 an hour now. I would suggest making it full-time, 40 hours at $20 an hour for the interim.
And then that would also, with this being a temporary position, though, that would still afford him the insurance and the other benefits as well. Is that correct?
Well, I understand if it's full-time.
Kelly.
And that salary would stay IT department.
Correct.
And I guess I just want to make sure that our lines of communication have been open and clear that, again, based on this interim thing, that there's a possibility circumstances would warrant that he goes back to part-time IT. Is that correct?
Could happen. It depends on how we look at it as Vernon evolves that IT department with the media and the other positions, you know, support for the PIO and other jobs. I don't know. Over to you, Vernon.
Well, I definitely concur with what you're saying there, but we haven't had that discussion yet and haven't applied it to a budget for multimedia work and that type of thing. It would, budgetarily, it would be, we don't really have the budget to stay full-time after that fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could have that discussion and see where you all want to evolve the position.
Right. Well, I guess my point is I don't automatically want anybody to assume there is going to be some evolution just because we're making these interim plans. If it works out, we hire a finance director, we hire a HR payroll director, Vernon goes back full-time as IT, then I'm assuming somebody had a conversation with Jordan about him going back to part-time IT unless something else changes. But that's the lines of communication I want to make sure everybody's on board with.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I would, oh, I'm sorry, if I may. That would also beg the question then, on the backside of this, with Vernon, if Vernon comes back as IT full-time and Jordan going back to part-time, if we give him $20 an hour moving to full-time, does that, we need to know going into this whether or not if he goes back to part-time, if he continues with that $20 an hour, or if he goes back to the $17 an hour. So we need to have that discussion as well.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point, Kevin. I just don't want anybody to enter into this with some assumptions that we haven't talked about or that we didn't do our due diligence about, and we start setting people up for failure. That would not be good.
That's right.
So
Can I make
Kelly has a comment, if that's all right.
Go ahead, Kelly.
something that you might think about, and I think Kevin brought this up, was the full-time people get the insurance and all that, is if he's only in that position 2 months, is it going to be more of a headache to put him on insurance for 2 months and pull him off and put him on? You just might think about that. I don't know. That might be a question for Donna on her last day, if that is even possible.
Yeah, that's a good question, Kelly. And I don't know, is there a reason we can't, since it's an interim position, flag it as an hourly position at $20 an hour through not to exceed July 1st. And then if it stays that way, then we can move it full time or convert it from interim to full time.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead, Ken or Vernon.
Would you allow me some time to do a little bit of research and come back to the board next week on the legal ramifications of working him hourly full time with or without insurance, just to get all our ducks in a row and get all the data points?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I don't have a problem with that, Vernon. You know, the bottom line is he's going to go to a full-time job temporarily. What does that mean? So does it mean 40 hours at $20 an hour, or does it mean 40 hours at $20 an hour with medical? And that's something we definitely can work out.
This just popped in here, but what does it look like? I know generally a part-time employee does not receive benefits, and I have not, I just thought of this, so there's been no conversation about it with anyone. what does it look like as far as a part-time employee receiving insurance? Does it, is that something if we gave him insurance and then he went back to part-time, does that automatically preclude him, or could we make a decision to keep him on insurance?
I can tell you that the personal cost for insurance at a part-time position is quite cost prohibitive, and it would cut severely into his paycheck.
Okay.
And it goes against personnel policy as well.
Okay.
So we got to do one or the other, in my opinion, either leave him at part-time or move him to full-time and offering benefits.
That's right. And once you cross, Kevin, once you cross the 17 or whatever hours it is, instead of 20, whatever it is, once you go past that, you are obligated to get insurance.
Okay.
Well, personnel policy says 32 hours.
Yeah, whatever the hourly rate is.
I think that's correct, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you for those answers. That helps me out quite a bit.
Okay, so where are we?
So Vernon, you're going to do some research and get back to us on the ramifications or moving forward as far as putting him on insurance and taking him off, or not providing insurance. Is that
Well,
correct?
after this discussion and the reminder that it is in the personnel policy, and I believe that it comes back to the Department of Labor regulations, once he goes full-time, he does need insurance.
Well, the policy says if you work more than 32 hours, you're entitled to benefits. You do not have to take the insurance. He may choose not to,
I apologize.
but we have to offer it.
That's right.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we're really saying the same thing. I just wanted to clarify that he may or may not, he might decline it. I have no idea unless somebody's talked to him that knows otherwise. But if we put him on more than 32 hours a week, we have to offer him benefits.
You could offer his contract labor for
You could.
a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Could do a 1099 on him.
Right.
Something to consider. Right now, what we are considering is moving him to full-time hours. And we can make the decision with him and the our personnel on whether he accepts the in full, or does 1099. Could go either way.
Well, I guess that's a conversation somebody needs to have with him then. There's certainly no benefit package as a contract laborer.
Right.
And I'm here if you want to talk to me about it.
Hey, George, go right ahead. What's your druthers?
We can quit talking about you and start talking to you, huh?
So I'm fine with the fact that this is just an interim, temporary thing. I will deny benefits because it doesn't make sense to do it for 2 or 3 months. And I'm fine with if it goes up and it goes back down. I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. Well, given that, I would move that we offer to move the halftime IT to full-time at $22 an hour. Not to exceed, on an interim basis, not to exceed July 1, 2021.
I'll second it. Any other discussion?
Well, I think it's probably obvious why I felt like we could pay him a little more money on the interim, at least. I just appreciate both of these gentlemen's spirit and willingness to do whatever they can to help. And they know as well as we do, we're kind of in some uncharted water here. And so I just appreciate that spirit and want to convey that to them through, a monetary thing, if nothing else.
Any other comments, Kevin?
I agree with Tom. I too appreciate both of these guys stepping up to the plate and helping out. And I have respect for both of them and their dedication. And I would like to be able to to help them as much as we can.
Okay, any other public comment?
I was just going to say that brings an annual salary basis to 45,760. Again, recognizing it is an interim position, but that's what that would work out to on an annual basis.
Okay,
And I guess my inherent assumption was that that motion would to include a start date of April 1st as well.
yeah, we'll amend it to say that, and it is April the 1st. Hey, all in favor, say aye. Kevin, I'll let Tom take a swing.
Kevin's votes aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and aye.
Who seconded that, Bill?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that brings us to the bottom of our agenda. Any other additional items haven't been discussed? There are none. I'll open it up to public comment right now.
Well, I have another item.
Oh, you do? Go ahead. I didn't know
Thank
that.
you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I have had numerous emails and a couple of phone calls concerning initiative 2021-2022-16. This initiative got through the ballot title process, so it's no longer known as the PAUSE initiative. Is formally now known as 2021-2022-16, and that's pending legislation that they're going to try to get on the ballot in November. And I am highly concerned that this would clearly, without even, it's almost so ridiculous, it almost doesn't bear repeating, but it will have a significant impact on the agricultural industry in this state and most likely then this country. So if you guys aren't totally up to speed on that, I'd recommend you do a little research. The last tally that I read when I researched this, the signature count is only 250,000 signatures to put this on the ballot. And I hope we all realize if crap gets on the ballot, our state's gone down to the road where it is hard to predict what's going to happen. So I suspect also that this ballot initiative will be tied to the federal movement called 30 by 30. There's a big push for the federal government to take over 30% of vacant open lands by 2030. And obviously agricultural land is about as open as you can get. There's been nothing formal about that, but that's my perception. So my ask is this, would you support myself working with our county attorney in drafting a resolution opposing Initiative 16, and in the same resolution requesting or demanding that Governor Polis oppose this as well? We're going to be in so much trouble if this gets through a liberal process and ends up on the ballot. You guys, you know what our voter makeup is in this state. And for the record, I would just say that without a lot of hyperbole, that this protect animals from unnecessary suffering and exploitation movement, the big thing is that meat cannot be consumed from an animal unless that animal has reached at least 25% of its expected life. That certainly moves the beef industry into no slaughtering of animals under the age of 5 years. And we all know how ridiculous that is. It's all meat animals for consumption, chickens, turkeys, all of that. So I think the average lifespan of a non fattened chicken for slaughter, just a regular barnyard chicken animal, is 5 to 6 years. So that means you probably couldn't butcher a chicken to eat until it was over 2 years old. And it's just going to ruin the industry. The other part of this is a big deal is, and they've made this very clear, that part of the initiative will no longer allow, or actually the wording says criminalize, any activities born against a livestock animal to include artificial insemination, pregnancy checking, any kind of a rectal examination, pulling a calf, pushing a calf back inside, repositioning it and trying to pull it. All that stuff would become a criminal act. So it's almost laughable to me, but it isn't, because I'm scared what'll happen along the Front Range that will affect agriculture for the rest of this state's future. So that's my ask, gentlemen, if I could work on pinning something and bring back on the 5th or the 6th.
I certainly would support that and wonder why we wouldn't if we don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only reason we wouldn't is either one, we don't know about it, or two, we think we're too busy. I mean, we have to address this, in my opinion.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, and in somewhat of an answer, I personally sent a letter off in regards to this PAWS Act. I thought it was 15 and not 16, but I'd have to go back and look at my notes.
No, it's got the number now, 16. I double checked it today.
Okay, well, thank you. But I did send a letter off personally last week on that. And I would support you working with Clint on something for that, as well as the 30-30.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to address that as well. I'm not sure that that's become quite as formalized yet as this Initiative 16, but I think we ought to probably do our research on both of those and be prepared to move forward. That's for sure.
I agree. Let's stay on top of it. Got one other item, guys. And that is we passed a resolution a couple meetings ago that we weren't able to sign because Tom, you got sick. Everybody was gone. We need to sign. Kelly, have you got that resolution there?
It's already,
They stamped my signature.
yeah, because it was signed. I think you and Kevin both signed it, and Tom gave me permission to just stamp his so we could get it recorded and done.
Okay, good. I'm glad that happened. We need to get it to people that are asking for it because they want to do something with it from a meetings point of view and media point of view, I guess.
Okay, nobody's asked me for it except Chris Bryson, so.
Talk to Chris, talk to Bob Hollingsworth. I think he's the one that really wants it.
Okay, if he wants it, he can give me a call and I'll.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you got it. Okay, any other items?
Probably just public comment, I guess, huh? I think I interrupted that.
Next. There are no comments, so I would move we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second
Would
it.
second?
And moved and seconded to adjourn. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good afternoon.